BRG Podcast, episode 18 for April 29th, 2016. This episode is brought to you by the wonderful Patreons over at patreon.com/BallRocketGaming. Welcome back, guys. I am your host, Warp Jester. As always, we like to have a lot of fun here tonight, going over the games and news. As you can see, unfortunately, I do not have any guests tonight, so it's going to be a solo act. So I'll try to keep things interesting. However, I'm all by myself, so... but anyways, tonight we're going to be going through a bunch of news. Tonight's topic's going to be kind of lighthearted. I just want to talk about the future of console games. As you guys know, I'm not a big console game person, so it's going to be a lot of waxing poetic and kind of my opinions on it. But first, the news. Okay, so... to start off our wonderful news, we're going to talk about Ubisoft is to punish players who took advantage of the Division's Falcon Lost exploit. This is, I kind of brought this up because it's actually kind of a common thing in the recent news. There's been a lot of issues with Division, exploits, bugs, and whatnot. They just have not been doing all that well, sadly, and I almost want to feel bad, but it's kind of hard to. But this is kind of a touchy subject, and I'm curious about this because I don't personally play this game. But this does bring up kind of an interesting topic, which is when a game has an exploit in it and people take advantage of it, how should the game industry respond to that? And I find this interesting because Division noted that they would like to take action against people, and I'm not really sure it's necessarily the best thing in the world for it. To give you kind of a long story short, with this new exploit, people are able to take on this Falcon Lost battle or whatever you want to call it, and basically farm it and get all the goods out of it. And this is actually a repeat thing that's happened quite a few times. But basically, what it boils down to is people take advantage of being able to do this pretty easily and get the rewards out of it. And what this results in is basically people getting a lot of good gear and whatnot out of it, when they really shouldn't. And I understand from one side of the argument that, you know, a lot of players who don't want to necessarily take advantage of the exploit feel like they have to if they want to be able to keep up with the other people who have the good gear. On the flip side, while I understand that necessarily taking action against people is not necessarily the best thing, there's also an argument to be made that people are saying, well, gee whiz, if it's in the game, you know, you should be able to utilize it. I don't know if I agree with that. And there's a lot of different groups, even the YouTube channel has stated, hey, if it's there, you know, don't punish us for it. You know, there I guess what it really boils down to is there's the intent of the game and there's the abilities you can actually pull off in the game, an exploit. I don't know. I mean, should people really be punished for that, if you will? I look at exploits as kind of cheating, so I don't think it's necessarily the right thing to do. But at the same time, if you lash out against people playing your game, you really are kind of biting the hand that feeds you. So I'm not really sure that's the best way to go. I have heard about other games that have taken creative extent to correct issues. There's one game, I forget what it was, that has a tax collector that comes to correct the situation. So there might be a way to kind of get around that to fix things without being just out and out assholes. Who knows? We'll see how that kind of goes. But it's an interesting aspect. There's a really good little write-up about it, and it kind of goes into some detail here on Digital Spy. So I encourage you, of course, to check out. The links will be in the show notes. Give me your thoughts. Tell me how you feel about it. If there is an exploit in the game, should people be allowed to take advantage of it? You know, what's your thoughts on it? Moving on. This is an interesting one. I find this kind of funny, and I had to put this in here. This is more for my friends that play Rock Band. Justin Bieber is going to be added to Rock Band 4 downloadable content. Yay! I have absolutely no love for Justin Bieber whatsoever, but Harmonix has announced that 3 of Justin Bieber's efforts, Sorry, Boyfriend, and Love Yourself, are coming to download content. This actually follows the inclusion of his smash hit, What Do You Mean, in the 2015 New Year's Eve jam pack that they had. I guess, yay, if you like Justin Bieber, kudos to you. Price is gonna be $5.49 for the pack or $1.99 per song. So if you're into Justin Bieber, this is your day. God, oh, makes me want to hurt myself. It really does. I'm not gonna dwell on that one. One thing I do want to dwell on, however, is Rocket League. This is an awesome game. This is a fun game. I cannot stress enough that if you haven't played this game, you definitely should. We did already miss the free weekend that they had for it. They actually had a free weekend last weekend from this podcast where you can actually play Rocket League for free and you can get discounts for buying it. And anybody who already owns Rocket League could get discounts on some DLC. The new release, however, is going to be the basketball mode. And this is incredible because they actually have it's set up for doing basketball, basically hoops. It looks like just an absolute, just incredible amount of fun. The game itself has always been an absolute blast. They've had other content like this before. They had the hockey version, which looked like a lot of fun. I haven't actually played the hockey version as of yet, sadly enough. But nonetheless, this is definitely going to be interesting because this is actually going to push people to start advancing their skills in the aerials, which is being able to jump in the air and actually, like you can see that, control the ball. Again, if you haven't played this game, it is money well spent. It's well worth it. You can play with your keyboard and mouse. I do okay at it, but this is definitely a game where there is a lot of lot more control to be had if you actually have a controller. I've actually considered buying a controller just so I can be a little better at this game because, God, if you watched my episodes of Rocket League, I am pretty dismal at it. So this is definitely something worthwhile. I definitely encourage you guys check it out because again, it will definitely be money well spent on. So if you get a chance, check it out. Definitely, there's already some videos coming out all over the place on YouTube. And as a matter of fact, Brawl Records is going to be hosting a event, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. So definitely check that out because it looks like it's going to be an absolute blast. In a not so blasty awesomeness, more StarCraft 2 match fixers arrested by Korean authorities. This is kind of a twofold thing for me because it really kind of seems like esports is coming into its own. There's a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about here tonight about esports, and this is interesting because basically what it boils down to is in this particular case, StarCraft 2, there have been quite a few arrests. Let's see here. We had one player that was allegedly paid 70 million won or $61,000 to throw a match. Another one was allegedly given approximately 35 million won, which is about $30,000 to throw a match. In addition to that, there's also 4 brokers charged, 2 financial backers, and 1 individual responsible for making the bets. So this is interesting because just like in the legitimate game industry or sports industry, there's actually price fixing or game fixing now. So I find it kind of interesting. You can see the whole details here. They got some links to source items as well. But I find it fascinating because this really is just another one of those cementing factors of how legitimate esports is becoming. So I find that fascinating, and I really would be curious to kind of see how this goes because this is something they do have to contend with when you start getting into the sports realm. There's a lot of money that changes hands for promotion, for sponsorship, for the purses that people win for the content. So it's interesting, and you know, I would imagine there's probably going to be more coming out of this. I'm also really curious to see how this would be handled in other countries as well. Korea is one environment that's very popular with gaming sports. In the American market or European market, I wonder how this would be handled. So it'd be very interesting to see. I'm going to get back to esports here, just a few here. But one thing I wanted to also bring up was Amazon's UK restricting some game sales to Prime members only. This is interesting. It's gone back and forth between it was meant to happen, it wasn't meant to happen. But just the idea of it kind of rubs me the wrong way. Now, to be clear, just so you know where I stand, I actually have Amazon Prime. So I actually have a Prime service. And I originally got it primarily because I do a lot of ordering on Amazon. Having the 2-day delivery for free is really nice to have. But I have started taking advantage of all the other Prime services, things like Prime, Amazon Video, music, etc. And it's been worthwhile to me in that extent. So technically I'm not affected in that A, I'm not in the UK, and B, I really haven't noticed or taken note of anything that was specifically available to me personally because I happen to have a Prime account. With this particular thing, though, that really kind of, I look at this and kind of go, is they're talking about some game titles that basically you can get other places. So taking any kind of anything, be it game titles, product, whatever, and restricting it to select people, i.e. Prime members, when they could go anywhere to get the stuff, that doesn't make me feel too good. And this kind of further rubs me the wrong way because I'm also kind of a little bit salty with Amazon about the fact that they're now dropping support for certain items being sold, namely in the Chromecast environment. I'm a big person with Google in terms of everything's Google-centric. I'm not necessarily a Google fanboy per se. I do appreciate Google, but my ecosystem is Google-centric. I have an Android phone. I use Google services, Mail, YouTube, etc. And I like having Chromecast. Chromecast is a great service. Now, I actually do have both Chromecast and Fire Sticks. Chromecast works a little better, in my opinion, to be honest with you. And not having that easy to buy through Amazon is just kind of inconvenient. I find it annoying. So I can see this kind of being another thing that really doesn't fit well in that ethos. If you're going to sell stuff and be a company that sells anything, be it digital content, physical content, whatever, restricting in some way, I'm not really sure is the best way to go about it. So I'm a little bit on edge about that. So I don't know. I think it's a bad idea. I really do. And I think Amazon's kind of dumb for doing it. But that said, Amazon's done a damn good job dominating the market. So they're not exactly stupid. So, they may know something I don't. Who knows? Switching gears back over to esports. I find this kind of hilarious, to be honest with you, because the esports league bans the UPOR Pro Gamer Squad. Now, to make sure you understand, this is a sports team, an esports team that is sponsored by YouPorn. If you don't know what YouPorn is, I say go look it up. Kids, don't look it up. But basically, they back this team, and that's about the extent of it. That said, the SL, the Electronic Sports League, has basically told them you can't play. And in a comment response to GameBeat, they say, and I quote, "Advertising pornography is not illegal in the markets we operate in. It's not illegal in the markets we operate in, but the vast majority of partners we're working with have strict no drugs, no alcohol, and no porn rules." They go on to explain a little more about it. I can understand that. I mean, we're talking about an environment that, again, we're talking about just like regular sports teams. You have other sponsors, backers. A lot of times when they have these sports events, the event itself will be sponsored by Microsoft or whoever, and they may not want to have, UPOR plastered across it. So they're trying to basically say, hey, listen, we've got other people that don't want to have this included. This is kind of funny in a couple of reasons. First of all, this was posted on VentureBeat on the 23rd, and they go through a big, long write about this. YouPorn has tried to respond in kind with things like taking the sports jerseys you see here and actually pixelating their logo on their shirts. This is not actually a Photoshop. This is actually what the shirts look like, which I find kind of funny. But that doesn't seem to be really all that good. And there's some back and forth here. YouPorn, of course, appealed to the ESL. They're trying to find a solution. They're not very happy about it. And they've had some releases. Really good write-up. Definitely encourage you to read it. What's funny about this is the very next day on the 24th, VentureBeat had another article, which is the ESL still wants to work with the YouPorn esports team. A little bit of a follow-up on it, and really not a lot more to be said here. The one particular quote about it that I find kind of humorous about this is let's see, is the ESL is blocking association pro group team YP because the primary sponsor is an adult entertainment website. Basically, what they said is ESL says is consulting its legal team, but it doesn't really look all that. But it's basically don't hold your breath. So it's just kind of funny. They're saying, no, we want to work with you, but we're trying to figure out what we can do about it. So it's like, okay. The thing about this I find very interesting is I said earlier, in their comment, they made a comment about how there is a strict no drugs, no alcohol, and no pornography rule they have. Okay, how strict is that? Because what happens when, and I would bet this would actually be an inevitability, when Team Budweiser wants to come on the scene? Then what? All of a sudden, this has to change. And while you certainly can change the rules and say, well, okay, we'll allow alcohol, but not porn. We have these blanket statements saying, hey, we're not going to have alcohol or porn or drugs, and then somebody else comes in the league, things are going to change. So I'll be interested to see how this fleshes out. I personally, whatever. I understand where they're coming from the business aspect. I just find it kind of humorous because this is another classic case of an industry growing into its own. And I kind of wonder if they shouldn't be or if they even are taking an eye towards the real sports environment and taking cues from them, learning from them. There actually is a topic or a news bite that didn't make the cut for tonight that actually just talked about that, how there's a lot of cues they could take from the regular sports leagues and kind of figure out how to grow. This is one of those things that's important because this is not a new environment, or a new environment, but not a new thing. That sports online has been around forever. Sports on TV, NFL, and so on. This has all kind of been worked out. I think they might do this as well to look at that industry, see what does work and what doesn't. I mean, we see NASCAR running around with Budweiser plastered all over them. GoDaddy is, one of the sponsors of a NASCAR. Yeah, if you've ever seen the commercials for them, they're damn near porn sometimes. So, yeah, okay. We'll see how that turns out. Moving on. This is very interesting. So video games will become a $99.6 billion industry this year as mobile overtakes consoles and PCs. And I got a great breakdown here. Now, this kind of perplexes me because this is, again, when you look at the different news articles that are coming up. This came out on the 21st. They basically go through and say, hey, look, here's a breakdown for the market. And the thing that catches my eye about this is mobile's has overtaken consoles and PCs. And this is part due to the cost of the game, which is not very much, but also the cost of in-game content. You can see some good breakdowns here. Another little notable aspect about this too, if you look at some of the graphs here, is a big chunk of the market is actually in the Asian market, which is interesting. So there's a lot to be said here. Mobile is very popular, and this kind of is fascinating to me because you can see right here, mobile's popular. It's overtaking the industry of consoles and PCs, and yet the very next article you see come up, game deals rebound in Q1, but mobile game investment plunges. Wait, what? So I'm now a little bit confused because mobile gaming is overtaking console and PC gaming, but there's a big dive in investment for mobile. Huh? This always perplexes me. I read the article over trying to understand why and how. They got a pretty good write-up here talking about some of the facts about game deals rebound in the first quarter, with game startups raising more than 500 million, according to Tech Advisor at Digital Capital. The number of game companies that successfully raised money in Q1 2016 actually dropped 40% compared to the same quarter last year. Similar game mergers and acquisitions appear to make a spectacular recovery in quarter one, with over $6.2 billion in the market. Again, I just don't know where we're going to go with this. I personally don't play a lot of mobile games. I've paid almost nothing to mobile games. I'm a big proponent of, buying the little cheap $2 games now and then. But a lot of it is free games. A lot of the in-game content I rarely ever buy, if ever. I mean, I played Fallout Shelter for a while pretty religiously, but I never really paid for any of the in-game content. So I'm not really sure where the money revenue comes from. I know there's a lot out there. We had our episode with Session about mobile gaming. We heard about kind of the dynamic and how they categorize people. But yeah, it's strange. You talk about in one breath how the mobile game industry is just, going all kinds of nutter butters and overtaking everything, and then the very next breath you're saying that the investment for it's diving. I am really confused. Whatever. Moving on, I want to do a little bit of news follow-up here. One thing we talked about in the past episode was Rust's controversial change for random generation for gender, and people had a lot of piss and moan about it, and yet, funny as it may be, Gary Newman, one of the founders of Rust, posted a tweet talking about how there's been Rust sales have grown 74% when we added the female models. So basically what he's saying is people have, fluff and blustered about it, but in the end, it's actually been a boon for them. So I would guess this might be kind of the Streisand effect, just the fact that because people have brought it up, because it's become a thing in the news, that somehow that's made Rust more popular and people have been checking it out. Who knows? But I just find that a little funny, so I wanted to bring that up in our follow-up. The other thing I wanted to follow up on was Blizzard on vanilla WoW servers. They finally released a statement about it. This... I'm a little bit... I don't even know how to even begin on this one. Again, disclaimer, I am not a fan of WoW whatsoever. I played it way back in the day, and it just was too simplified for me. I'm a big MMORPG lover. WoW just is not a good fit for me in any way, shape, or form. The thing I find kind of cheeky about this is, after the Warriors recently shut down the fan-run World of Warcraft server, was it Nostralius? Which... in case anybody missed it, is a strictly vanilla server. So it's the original WoW, if you will. Blizzard has piped up with some thoughts on the vintage WoW unofficial server. In short, don't hold your breath for Blizzard actually hosting a vanilla server. It's basically they shut it down and said, nah. However, they may consider a pristine realm, which would remove leveling acceleration to get closer to the old way of taking characters through Azeroth. But that's only a thought, mind you. So they said they might consider doing a little bit of a shakeup. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. The whole aspect of like the accelerated leveling and all of that, that's what players apparently have wanted. They want it goes right in line with Blizzard making WoW just really, really, really stupid, simple, and easy for people, so that everybody in their 5-year-old can play and excel to end levels. There's obviously a thriving community out there that like the vanilla environment. There were a lot of people, I forget the numbers, but there were a lot of people that were on that vanilla server. They had to go after the server. They had to. It's one of those obligations to protecting your IP. You have to shut it down. But that said, you obviously there's a market there, but apparently to them it's not a big enough market, I guess, to support it. I don't know. Long story short, in my opinion, this just kind of makes Blizzard look a little bit douchey. I mean, yeah, I totally understand it and support the aspect that you have to protect your IP, but if it's not something you are directly doing, this is not eating into your profits. So it doesn't give me the warm fuzzies at all in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, oh well. Moving on to a little tech tidbit. Not a whole lot of really interesting stuff out there, but so Shayla tosses in, so I figured I'd bring it up. Apple reports the first quarterly sales drop since 2003 as iPhone stumbles. Now, I find this funny because I don't have the full specs in front of me here. Let's see if Sashi has them. So revenue declined 13% year over year from 58 billion to 50.55 billion. So wow, they dropped ever so much. That's a profit decline from 13.57 billion down to 10.52 billion dollars. Long story short, they ain't hurting. Yeah, things have had a downturn. I was talking to Sashi online about it. She did a little extra digging. This actually came in line with the fact that a lot of mobile market is actually leveling off or declining a little bit. And let's face facts. This wasn't going to last forever. Everybody knows that. But it tends to freak people out sometimes. And Apple stock took a pretty nasty hit as a result of it. This is, of course, attributed to the slow smartphone sales blame with Chinese sales falling quickly. So that's basically the new market they want to get into. It doesn't seem to be fleshing out nearly as well as they had hoped. Smartphone sales are down across the board. iPad sales continue to fall as well, down 19%. And as I said, Apple stock prices were down 8% after the news. Ouch, I guess. I mean, before everybody starts jumping out of windows and saying, oh my God, again, we're talking about a drop from 58 billion down to 55 billion. Not exactly hurting. So there's your little tech tidbit. In the media bites, this is sad news. Prince passed away at age 57. I don't want to muddle things. I've heard rumors back and forth. Apparently Prince had gone in previously with flu-like symptoms, and then shortly after that had passed away. There was rumors about this being related to a whole bunch of stuff, but basically, long story short, he has passed away. There's a lot of interesting news, and of course, a lot of tributes and whatnot. I find this very interesting, though, because Prince, before his death, was known on a couple of fronts. One, when he changed his name to an unspeakable symbol. The other is he had a very, very dismal tone towards his content online and in the internet in general. The interesting thing about that is, after his death, that seems to have not come up at all. A lot of the tribute comments, replies, and whatnot have been very favorable and just fond memories of a lot of the great work he has done. I'll be honest with you, I've listened to some of his music. There's actually some songs that I do appreciate. I'm not really a Prince fan per se. But that said, he is a very accomplished artist. He does have a lot of skill. He's very good with the guitar. He has an interesting voice range. So another artist lost. Sad to see that happen. So if you can, go pull up a few videos and listen to his music. Other media, interesting stuff. VR bangers and Aura Visor to offer adult virtual reality content in hotels rooms. Basically, what this is you can take the Samsung VR and order them, and it'll give you a virtual environment of your hotel room, and you can have a a good time by yourself, I guess. So check that action out. Anyways, under the that's random category, this is a beautiful another one that Seshi found. Fisherman spends 3 years building a massive 24-foot-long Lego USS Missouri. This is a beautiful classic battleship of the USS variety. Beautiful ship. A lot of good pictures of it. You can see all of his stuff back there. I love Legos. I am kind of I see things like this and I get all kinds of gushy because this stuff is incredible to me, and the creativity building this stuff out is just incredible. This is actually amazing too because as you guys know, I'm a big fan of World of Warships, and the Missouri is one of the top tier 10 American battleships you can play. And this is great because I remember just a few years ago, back in 2009, a gentleman had created a 22-foot long Yamato, which is the top end Japanese battleship, and again, just absolutely beautiful. These links are for Gizmodo. I definitely encourage you to go check them out. There's a lot of just beautiful pictures of the work that these guys have done, down to every little detail. I mean, it's incredible, absolutely incredible. So check those out. That's some actually some really fun stuff. So that's kind of the news bits here. Again, my apologies for not having a lot of different news going on. I'll try to get what I can in there, but hopefully we'll get things back on track on the new week here. A little tech history for you in this day in history. Justice Department sues to block Microsoft's purchase of Intuit. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Actually, there's a lot of interesting history. This channel here, this website here, Computer History, I definitely encourage you to go check it out because they've got a lot of cool stuff here that goes through the history of everything related to the computer world. And there's a lot of cool stuff in here that I always encourage people to go check it out. They got some great and fun things. So I definitely want you to check those out. Now, a lot of other really interesting facts and history that I could really find this week. So it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and move on to birthdays. And we got a few birthdays here. One is for Cool to Zap, one of our BRG members. Cool to Zap's been around with us for quite some time. So happy birthday to you, Cool. We also have birthdays for Cryadic. Cryadic. Another member we have. So happy birthday to you. And then, of course, we also have The Real Noob. And The Real Noob does have a YouTube channel, so definitely go over there and check that out. And you can find out about all these people on the BRG website at ballrocketgaming.com, so you can check them out. Events. There are a lot of events going on for the BRG front. We've actually got a couple fun events coming up. First of all, we have our monthly jet stream. This is an opportunity for Ball Rocketeers to get together. Live stream is usually split into two parts. First part is usually a free-to-play game of some sort. And then the second part is usually a paid-for game. This is headed up by Big Dan Myers, who is our event coordinator for the jet stream. So you can catch all the action over at the twitch.tv/ballrocketgaming if you want to check that out. That's going to be on the 30th. We also have, as I noted earlier, get together for Rocket League Hoops, which is going to be hosted by Linz. So a lot of people have already signed up. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town, so I can't do it. Damn. But again, this is a lot of stuff that what Ball Rocket does. We are big into doing collabs and events and whatnot. And so you can check all that stuff out by heading over to our website and join up with us and have some fun with us. So fun stuff. There are some other events coming up. Matter of fact, there's a huge list of them. One is Vector. This is a very interesting event coming up related to the video game industry. I just love their website so much here. A little ooh. Anyways, but there's also some other things here, including SVVR, which is the VR Expo in Silicon Valley. There's a huge list of other events in the show notes. You can check them out. So definitely check them out. All right, so brief break. I want to talk about actually the podcast. We do a lot of stuff in the podcast. As you guys know, we've tried to get a lot of different people on here. I am starting to actually reach out beyond just the Ball Rocket group, trying to get a few people on to join me outside of Ball Rocket. Try to spread the word, get a lot more opportunities to meet new people and get to know other entities out there. I'm hoping to get Ixon on from the Grumpy Owl Gaming group. Really wonderful character. I love him to death. He is right pin in line with me in terms of his mentality when it comes to getting together people, having a good time, creating a group for collaboration, for learning, for having fun. We also have Not Quite Nerds. Linz is going to be coming back to join us hopefully pretty soon here. Dates aren't cemented yet. I'm hoping maybe next week having one or the other on. But I do want to get more people on. So if you are interested in joining us, love to have you on. definitely wanted to get more people on so we can do other stuff as well, like roundtables and so on. So keep in touch with us. You can check out what's going on here in the forums and find out good stuff here. So one last actually news topic I want to bring up, and this is going to be kind of my topic piece I want to talk about. This is kind of funny because this is about the unsure if there will be a PS5. And this is all based around a comment that was made in an interview when they're talking to some individuals about gameplay and upcoming PlayStation 5. And the question was asked, what does the PlayStation 5 look like? And the reply that came from the person was, you mean if a PlayStation 5 is coming. And this sparked a whole lot of conversation, both in my mind as well as people I was talking to. And it's interesting because the way the architecture of console gaming is right now is console gaming have at least a 5-year life, at least, if not longer. Now, again, if you don't think about it, or if you're not really a console person, think about your computer lasting 5 years or even 7 years without any upgrades. Whatever video card, whatever processor, whatever RAM, hard drive, whatever, that's static for the most part. You're not going to upgrade your RAM and anything like that. For 5 to 7 years, think about how gameplay would be by the time you got to that 7-year marker. It'd be kind of shoddy. But this is what consoles have done. You bring out consoles, you have them for a good number of years before there's a hint of anything else coming up. In my personal opinion, I'm not really sure this is going to be a viable thing going forward. So what does this mean? I would suspect that there's going to be a fundamental shift with consoles. What could possibly happen here? Consoles could come out more often. That's a possibility. Now, I'm not sure how things have changed, but back in the day when I was actually following consoles a little more closely, we're talking years ago, when PS1, PS2, that kind of era, oftentimes the consoles themselves were produced and oftentimes sold at a break even or at even a loss to the manufacturer. So PlayStation, Sony, Microsoft, so on, will create these consoles and release them, and the price that they're selling them to you for is actually less than what the cost is to create them. And the reason is they'd get their games back by getting a cut of the pie when they sold the $30 to $60 games to you. Trying to roll into a market where you're replacing the hardware that often wouldn't make any sense, because you'd be doing so much in the way of constantly updating and refreshing and taking that loss constantly. You're just not going to be as profitable. I don't think any company is really going to want to do that. And again, I could be wrong here. This is just me waxing poetic at this point, kind of figuring what might happen. But that said, because the way game content is, games on game consoles are constantly kind of hamstringed because they have to be able to work with the existing hardware. And especially when you look at a lot of games nowadays becoming a lot more popular to release on both console and PC, there's a problem there in that you have a game that either is just going to run like crap on console to be able to take advantage of the PC's capacity, or vice versa. You're going to have to work great on the console, but it's going to be kind of wimpy on the PC. The PC has more power than they ever possibly need. So what can we do? Like I said, updating the console that often, not going to happen. What about if consoles are a little more modular? What if you could actually upgrade the console itself, piecemeal, like you can a PC? Well, that's a possibility. But then at that point, you're kind of buying a PC? The other thing, too, is a lot of things are kind of emerging in our world. You see things kind of coming together constantly. There's a softer line. You've got things like the NVIDIA Shield, the ability for PlayStation to now push to your PC, to a TV, etc. Not TV, but for your PC. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there that's starting to kind of merge or blend things together. Plus, you have those interesting little kind of, I don't know what to call them, but cheap platforms, everything from Android based to the NVIDIA Shield and so on. I don't know. Are consoles in the future? Are consoles still going to be around? What direction are consoles going to take? How are they going to continue to survive when it comes to the future of gaming? I would think that they want to find a way to be a little more cutting edge and on top of things, because no matter what you do, when you create a new console, it's only going to be as good as the hardware at the time. And again, it's going to grow very quickly. So how do you keep that refreshed, new, and on the bleeding edge? The other thing too, especially with VR coming out, VR becoming popular, how do you drive that new tech as it comes out? As we already discussed and talked about with PlayStation, there's a talk of the PlayStation 4.5, which one part might be to take advantage of 4K displays, but also might be the fact that they really found out or really realized that to really take advantage of the games that want to use VR, that maybe the PS4 is going to be underpowered for it, and they had to do this. What about the future? What about the next generation of VR? What about VR that's going to have a higher pixel count or refresh rate or whatever? What do you do then? How do you keep this hardware current and keep things moving? This also brings up the concept about what's going to happen with Nintendo. They talk about the Nintendo NX. What's going to happen with them? What do you do when you're coming from behind, if you will? How do you come back into this market and make a splash and not end up coming into the market with the same architecture of, we're going to create a new console that's going to be a 5-year or 7-year console? If Nintendo does that, my biggest concern is that they're going to come in the market, and even if they make a big splash and do really well, that they're going to miss the boat, because right then there's going to be that fundamental shift, if there's going to be one, and it's going to leave them high and dry. So I put this question to you guys, and I want to see comments from you either down below or in the forums about this. I want your take and your opinion on this. What's going to happen with the consoles in the future? Are we going to continue on with the exact same architecture? We're going to see new consoles coming out in another 2 or 3 years. They're going to be in the next 5 to 7 year console. Or is there going to be a fundamental shift? Is there going to be a hybrid? Are they going to be modular? Are they going to have integration with your smartphone or with your PC or something? Let me know what your opinions are. I'd love to see them. And I might even do a follow-up on this if I get a lot of input on there. Try to even get a panel of people together. And we can talk about this in a little more depth. Again, talking about myself is a little hard. So I want to be able to kind of bounce ideas off people and get a good dynamic discussion going. So that's the news for that. Again, my apologies, guys, for the odd scheduling for the podcast here. Again, I've been recovering from my motorcycle accident, and I'm going to be out of town on this weekend. So I'm not going to be able to do one this weekend. So this is kind of a hybrid episode between what would be 2 weeks worth of episodes. I try to get what I could in there and get some details up. But nonetheless, we do try to keep up on things best we can. But always, if you guys want to keep up on what's happening, definitely make sure you hit the forums at ballrockgaming.com. We have forums for the podcast here, and this is everything from the show notes to what's coming up, ideas, host lists, etc., and of course feedback if you'd like. I definitely do encourage feedback. I love hearing from you guys. Love seeing what you guys have to say. And I'm not shy. I can handle you guys tell me I'm flat out wrong or I'm an idiot. I'm okay with that. I really am. Be nice, but nonetheless. So you can check everything out there. And of course, you can always check out my channel. I do have some game content coming out now. A lot of this is backlog stuff that I finally had a chance to edit. Right now, it's Rocket League and Warships because of the games I tend to have time to play. I am going to try to get some new content going. It's just been an absolute bear. Life does come first, as always. So I'm getting up what I can possibly get up, and I'll try to get some more content up soon. And when I have a moment to edit it. So I have some other stuff waiting in the wings there, so definitely check that out. As for the Ballrocket website itself, definitely head over to ballrocketgaming.com. We do have a new website in the works I've known before. You click the little current site here. It takes you to what's currently going on here. We are a wonderful group of people. We love working together, doing collaborative work, as you talked about the upcoming events and so on. Definitely a great place to banter and talk. If you want to get tips, tricks, input, thoughts, put together a gaming group. We kind of go beyond being a guild per se. We're not necessarily, and we are an entity of ourselves. We have other groups within us. For example, the BRG Mining Company. If you have a group and you want to have a place you can land to be able to post, collaborate, and find new people, maybe promote events you have coming up, feel free to come on over and post with us. We're more than happy to chat with you and help you out, give input, and join you on some of these events. I'd love to get some more server versus server or guild versus guild type events going on. So definitely head on over to BRGgaming.com and check that out. And of course, you can head over to the YouTube channel we have at youtube.com/BRG which is where we pull our posts up for the podcast, as well as the weekly rundowns hosted by Dude Caller and our monthly jet streams. We will have more content coming down the pipe. I have so much I want to do, including Inside the Gamer's Mind, and I need to kind of redouble down, start to actually stapling people to the wall and make sure that I can actually get them to join me for it. So hopefully that happens soon. And as always, again, if you'd like to donate to BRG Gaming, it is certainly appreciated. This is a true, for the people, by the people type environment, but it does cost money to run the thing. And we like to be able to do a lot more. And of course, to do that, we need some cash. So if you're able to spend $1 or $5, whatever, you will get our eternal gratitude. We'll put your names in the credits. We'll have other special events coming up as well in the future. So definitely, please, if you can, head over there and donate $1 to us. If you want to do a one-time thing, we do have also PayPal, which you can find through the main website. So again, thank you guys so much. I'm sorry that it's solo act. I need to brush up on my skills talking about myself here. But hopefully, like I said, next week we'll have some newer returning people guest hosting with me, and we'll have some fun, dynamic conversation, as it were. So look forward to that. And, we'll see what comes of it. So have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Bye.